Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to look at the 1 to 4 player game Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, published by Stronghold Games. In this game, you're going to try to terraform Mars, and you're going to try to be the best at it. And you're going to try to go throughout the game, converting 3 different global parameters to gain terraforming ratings to get that highest score. So let's go ahead down the table here. I'll give you a very general overview on how to play this game, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, so this is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. This is what a basic setup might look like. Now, we're not going to go into incredible detail on this game. We're just going to go over just a general gist of how to play the game. But basically what you're going to do, and there's variants for if this is your first game that you can go over, but beyond that, what you're going to do is you're going to deal out 8 cards to each player and 2 corporations. The player is going to look at these corporations. They're going to pick one of them, and that's going to be the corporation for the game. They're going to get an effect, and they're going to get a starting bonus. And this is also the income that they're going to start with the game, and this one happens to have a bonus tag. There is also, what I would like to mention, an optional rule in the game stating that when you draw your first cards of 8 cards, you can discard any number of these and draw up that many cards. I highly actually recommend that you use that rule. That way it's easier to get a good starting hand, because getting a good start to the game is very important, especially with a game that takes about 1 to 2 hours to play. Now you're going to put these markers here at the lowest portion for oxygen and temperature, and you're going to put out the 9 ocean tiles. Throughout the game, to show when the game's ended, you're going to need to have this all the way up here, and this oxygen all the way up here, and all these ocean tiles flipped. And there's different effects in the game that will flip the ocean tiles and move these up. Every time you move one of these global parameters up, you're going to go up a terraforming rating. Everyone starts at 5, and at the end of every round, that's how much, or not at the end of every round, sorry. At the production phase, that's how much money you're going to get, along with the other stuff on here. You'll set all these at zeros, and after you pick your starting corporation, you'll adjust them as necessary throughout the game. You'll put your starting money in here, and in this case it's 28. The gold cubes are 10s, the gray cubes is 5, and the copper cubes are 1 each. So I'll put those in there. So I have my starting income. Now, on your turn, you're going to pick one of these action cards. Now, this is the biggest difference between this and regular Terraforming Mars. You're actually only going to get to do whatever actions everyone's selected that turn, and there's going to be 5 different actions that you can pick from. When you pick an action yourself, you get to do the top with everyone else, and only you, or whoever picked this one, gets to do the bottom action. So if multiple people pick develop, everyone gets to do the bottom action, but whoever whatever card you put out, if you put this card out, you get to do the bonus action too. Now, in these different actions, they're going to do different things. Like the green ones, you're going to have green cards, and this simply lets you play a green card. So I'll show you what those are in a second, but basically you get to play the green cards, and you get the bonus action down on the bottom. You get to pay 3 ME less for the cards you play in this phase. The next one here is going to be red or blue, so you can play red or blue cards. Each player may play 1 blue or 1 red card. Your bonus action, you can draw a card or play an additional red or blue card. Action, blue, each player gets to activate actions and effects and standard actions, which I'll show you in a minute. You may activate 1 action an additional time if you get this one. Production, everybody gets to do the top part. Each player gains heat, plants, and draws cards according to their production. They also gain their MC equal to their terraforming rating, or TR, which is going to be this. It's your TR track. Bonus, gain 4 MC. The last one here, research. All players draw 2 cards and keep 1. Bonus here, you get to draw 3 additional cards, so 5 total, and keep 1, so you get to keep 2 cards. those are all the different actions. Once you select an action, you're going to put it face down. Everyone's going to review it simultaneously. And those tiles get flipped over and everyone gets to do them. Now, for the next round, you don't pick this card up. You have your 4 remaining ones. You pick one. Everyone reveals it simultaneously, and you pick your old one up and put it in your hand. So that prevents you from being able to do the same action twice in a row. Now, a couple of different things to go over in this game is on the bottom of... Now, I also mentioned real quick that this is a dual layered board. This only comes with the Kickstarter edition of the game. If you bought the retail version of the game, you'll just have a little cardboard mat there instead. And I believe that is actually probably the only difference between the Kickstarter edition and the retail edition, other than maybe a couple of, like a dozen or so bonus cards that you would get. Now, when you play these different actions, there's a couple things that you're going to do for cards. So we'll go over cards first. When you're looking at cards, you're going to look at how much they cost and these different symbols. And this is what it does on the bottom. So it also explains basically what it does on the right too. So you don't have to know the symbology necessarily in this game, which is really, really nice. You can read it on the side too. And these tags are still relevant in the game. What they're going to do is going to be sometimes with requirements or other things, but these 2 tags are going to be mainly of a big concern in the game, and that's going to be steel and titanium. Now, unlike Terraforming Mars, where you have a production value for steel and titanium, here you actually don't. So you notice there's nothing to the right of the board here for producing units. Instead, this is actually a discount. So when this moves along, you actually permanently have 2 titanium, or 2 steel, I'm sorry, and like here's 2 titanium. And if you look up here, that's the discount for the card. So if the card actually has that symbol on the top, you'll take this discount, subtract it from here, and that's how much it's going to cost to play. The other spaces are functionally the same. You're going to produce heat, you're going to produce greenery or whatever. The other addition here is going to be this one here, where you can actually produce cards. You can, on your production phase, you can take the number on here and use how many cards you draw, which is really, really nice. So the cards have different effects, which I'm not going to go over all of them in here, but just know that you're going to have the price that you're going to have to pay here, and these are tags. And a couple things that you also might notice is some of them have requirements or effects. Like this one here is going to reduce your terraforming rating. This one here requires 2 oceans to be flipped, so this one absolutely cannot be played until that happens. Some of them require so many tags of a certain type, especially science ones, to be out. And another thing to watch out for is this little planet of Mars. This one here will be points that you get at the end of the game for different things. Like this one here is based on how many things you have of some type. This one here is just a straight 2. Some of them are negative. And the color of the card is important too. So here's your red and blue like we discussed. If you want to play red or blue cards, these are the cards you could play. If you're going to play green cards, these ones here. In general, the green cards, once they're played, have no real benefit, so you just lay them so you can see the tags on the side. The blue cards typically have a little arrow on here for an action that you would have to use to, you'd have to do the action phase that you have to tap it to, or turn it to its side to do the thing, or some of them have permanent, that one's not a permanent one. Some of them have permanent effects that happen, like this guy here. When something happens, you get something, so those are cool. Those ones you leave out so you can see what they are. And you're going to, like I said, continue doing these different actions each round after round until all these global parameters are finished, and the person with the highest TR rating at the end of the game wins. So that was a lot. So it's not really meant to teach you exactly how to play the game. It's just to give you a general idea of how the game plays. One other thing I really wanted to mention too is a difference in Terraforming Mars. In Terraforming Mars, the board game, you're going to be placing out greenery tiles. Instead, in this game, you just get points for these greenery tiles. These ones are worth 1 point, and then you have the big 5-point ones you can change for. So you're just getting points for your greenery. You're not actually putting them out, and they do raise the oxygen level, so you'll get a TR rating as long as oxygen level is up. Now, another thing to keep in mind in this game is once the oxygen levels or one of the levels is tapped out, players are actually allowed to still gain TR ratings until that phase, so whichever one of these ones that caused that to happen ends. So until that phase ends, if all the oceans are flipped over, the last ocean, everyone gets that benefit until that ends, and then no one can flip oceans, or once oxygen gets up after that happens, no one can raise oxygen anymore to get it. When you flip over the oceans, you're basically going to get a random thing on here. So here you get the 4 money when you flip over an ocean, plus your TR rating. Here you're going to get 2 greeneries, and you're going to get a TR rating, and so on. So, like I said, just a general overview of the game. Let's go ahead back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts. So, I really like Terraforming Mars Ares. Now, does it take 60 minutes to play like it says on the box? Haven't found that it has. It does have a solo mode that I didn't mention in the game. That's really fun. And I will say that it's not too far off from the 60 minutes. If you like Terraforming Mars, will you like this game? I don't know. So Terraforming Mars, based on the different expansions that you have on there, can take a very, very long time to play. So personally, I really like Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition because it doesn't take nearly as long as the base game takes to play. I also like Race for the Galaxy and Eminent Domain and games like that, so I really like the role selection element to this game. And I really like the strategy that it adds to the game. The production value of this game, now I do have the Kickstarter version, but again, I only think the dual layer board and some bonus cards are the only real difference between this and the retail version, is great, which is not something I would say about the original Terraforming Mars game, which I love. The production value of that game was not nearly as good. I also love the art that they placed on these cards, and I really, really, really wish that the same art would have been present in the original Terraforming Mars board game. Now, I will say that if you're looking for terraforming, if you love Terraforming Mars, and you love exactly how Terraforming Mars plays, and you're looking for a smaller simulation of that, I'm not sure that you're going to necessarily like this game. If you like Race for the Galaxy, or you like Eminent Domain, or other games like that, will you like this game? Probably. So I do highly recommend this game for anyone that likes those type of games, or hasn't played Terraforming Mars, or felt that they didn't get exactly what they wanted from Terraforming Mars. This would be a game that you will want to check out. And the groups that I played with it have been like on the border with it. So I will say that too. I like it a lot. I think that it's great. I really like that you have to put an added depth of strategy into not only planning out the cards you're playing, but planning out how they're going to happen and how things are going to happen throughout the game. I really like that it allowed for more card drawing, so I really like the fact that you can get that production of drawing more cards throughout the game too. I think that's great. I think that some of the balancing issues, not that, I mean, Terraforming Mars is one of my favorite games, period. I don't know yet that I'm going to rate this game higher than Terraforming Mars. Currently, if I had to pick between the two, I would play Terraforming Mars, the board game. But I'm coming close to saying I'm going to play this one here. And I would definitely pick this game over Terraforming Mars board game if I don't feel like playing much more than an hour long. I don't feel like playing a 4 or 5 hour game, which Terraforming Mars can easily take. So that's my semi-complicated thoughts on Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. Like I said, it is a fun game. I think that if you get this game and you want to give it a try or play it or whatnot, go in and go in with it with fresh expectations. Don't be like, I love Terraforming Mars, I need something exactly like Terraforming Mars. I do think it gives the feel of Terraforming Mars, but that's probably about it. Oh, and one thing that I did really miss that I loved in the base Terraforming Mars game is all the cards, which has nothing to do with the game, but all the cards in Terraforming Mars, the board game, had like little flavor text on the bottom and that little binary code. This does not have that. I really wish they would have the flavor text because it's fun reading those cards while you play the game. But minor thing that doesn't actually impact gameplay at all. And that's my thoughts on Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. Thank you for watching.